Hey, sorry about that. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Comic Wall. It's your girl, the Outcast Angel, and today let's talk about issue 183 of The Walking Dead and Michonne without her sword. Now, I apologize for how sporadic my upload schedule has been the last couple of weeks. I finally started working, so I'm getting money for my comics. School started up again, so that's been hectic. And most of my heavy stuff kind of just blew by already, so I have more time for you guys. So, with that being said, it's not going to be permanent. This is it was just a little kink trying to get everything together, so I'm back. So let's do the traditional comic posting on my wall. We finally have another slot right here, and then we have one final one before we move on to the final row where you won't be able to see anything down there. So let's do it. Anyway, this issue was absolutely lit. Give me 1 second because this thing's not gonna go up otherwise. But yeah, like this issue was absolutely intense, and it was just so different from everything else we've seen. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. I really hope you can. But it was just completely different from everything else we've seen throughout this whole series. Like, I mean, the way the Commonwealth is set up, it has a certain realism to it that the whole series hasn't really followed with, I mean, of course it's a comic about zombies. There's no realism in there. But the fact that with not only having to deal with walkers and obviously crazy people or just people trying to survive, this issue dealing with the Commonwealth, it just felt so different in the way that it was seemingly normal. It was a real world situation that we've seen in the world that it's hard to explain it really. But I mean, let's talk about it as we go into it. So we start off with Michonne and her daughter Elodie being escorted to somewhere called Greenville, somewhere that Elodie is really excited for her mom to see, and they're being escorted by this soldier named Jerome. Now, Michonne isn't really comfortable with this. She's not used to having to be taken care of, and so Elodie's just trying to be like, relax, mom, just enjoy it. Like she said something interesting, saying that I used to have to wait until a whole group of us wanted to go to Greenville because safety in numbers. But with Michonne being of such importance to the Commonwealth, she has the perks of saying, hey, let's go now. Okay, let's go. It's weird. But of course, that's how the Commonwealth works in their kind of weird class, well, not weird class system, but the class system that exists when it shouldn't. Anyway, at one point they run into a small group of walkers that Jerome ends up taking out, and Michonne's kind of hovering over him like, keep it quiet, you don't know how many more are out there. And he's like, come on, this isn't my first rodeo. Anyway, he ends up getting ambushed. He ends up getting ambushed by a bigger group of walkers, and Michonne jumps into action. She just takes him out, grabs his gun, takes him out with the bayonet, and then finally has to gun them down, essentially just taking the rest of them out. And Jerome and Elodie are like, oh shit, they're taken aback by this. And yeah, she's just like, she obviously knows how to take care of herself. And so it's just amazing seeing the shocked look on the faces of these two. And like, as she walks back to her horse, she just hands the rifle back to Jerome, saying, here, your rifle. He's like, thanks, whatever. Anyway, they finally get to Greenville, and it is beautiful. It's this small little, like, I guess, lakeside village, and it looks so peaceful. I mean, whatever the Commonwealth has now, and if this is just one of probably many other communities they have under their wing, like, how many more peaceful places are there? I mean, we see Alexandria, we see the Sanctuary and the Kingdom. They're obviously very militarized. They have a sense of protection, yes, but they still have that sense of I guess danger around them, and they acknowledge it as well. So Jerome leaves these two to do their thing, and they're met by this woman named Cloris, which Lance had alerted of their arrival, and apparently she reserved a cabin for them. So Michonne obviously has some pretty good perks, and while they enjoy their time at Greenville, we see Michonne here getting a little emotional, and Elodie's like, "What's the matter, Mom?" And Michonne's just like, "Nothing. Absolutely nothing." So this is the first time in a long while that she hasn't had to deal with any danger, that she hasn't had to really worry about anything or be the protector that she has had to be since we met her in issue 19, which I actually don't have. I don't know why I'm actually pointing up there, but I think it was 19. No. Yeah, it had to be 19 because it was shortly after they met up at the prison. Yeah. I don't know. I think so. Anyway, at the end of their stay, they're getting ready to leave, and Cloris actually is sending them off with a pack of goodies, like just stuff that she's like, in case you get hungry on the way. And as they're getting ready to leave, Michonne spots this family that's getting some food from, I guess, one of the farmers or one of the market stalls, I guess, whatever it is. And she hears the kids, complaining, saying like they're hungry, but the mom says, "Don't make a scene. We can't afford this." But Michonne does something interesting. She gives this family the pack of food that Cloris had given her, and obviously this is her way of helping out. She's always been one of the generous ones. Cloris isn't very happy about this, and Cloris meets her with a very annoyed look on her face, in which she automatically goes off saying, "There was a very nice wine in there and very expensive cheeses." What is expensive in a world where money doesn't matter anymore? Anyway, Michonne's just like, "Sorry, seemed like they needed it more than I do." And so they're on their way, and as they get to the Commonwealth, there's this ruckus going on, and turns out someone attacked an officer. And so Michonne springs into action, and we see this group of officers attacking a man, beating him within an inch of his life. And we see, as they're attacking him, we see the horrified looks on on the faces of the crowd around him, and Michonne jumps into action, saying, "Stop it, stop beating him." And she notices that one of the officers is Jerome. Now we see her in her little apartment, and there's a knock on the door, and turns out it's Lance with a smile on his face for some odd reason. Like that I don't know. It just I'm starting to understand the idea that Maggie was passing off last issue, in which saying that that Pamela smiles too much, So I can see that right here. And turns out the man who was beaten, his name is Anthony Keith, and he was beaten pretty badly. Like, Lance continues to say there's a lot of swelling on his brain. We don't know if he's going to pull through. And so turns out Anthony assaulted the officers first. Turns out there was some kind of I guess romantic entanglement, as Lance says. Anthony's wife was having an affair with one of the officers, and so they got into a shouting match, and then things escalated from there. But I mean, you don't need 3 officers to sustain one man, and they weren't even sustaining him; they're just kicking his ass, So obviously there was some I guess abuse of power in this situation. And so obviously there was some abuse of power in this situation. And Michonne understands this. She knows this is very, very bad. Turns out, she obviously knows that this can get out of hand pretty quickly. And so Lance automatically says, we can't have the people losing faith in our officers or questioning us in our judgment to arm them. We need your help in this respect. This is going to be your first case, and I want you to defend the officers involved. Prove they did nothing wrong. This is not a request. Now we see Michonne and Elodie having dinner in this really nice restaurant, and Michonne's having some trouble with this. She's not exactly the type to take orders. She's more the type to, like, she'll kind of go along with what you say, but if she doesn't like it, she won't exactly cooperate. You know, she doesn't take to orders so much as you know, cooperating in the same ordeal, I guess, you know? Then we see one of the Commonwealth women walk by saying, "How dare you defend those men?" And it's like they're blaming Michonne for what they did, you know? She's just doing her job. This is something she has to do, you know? She doesn't really have a choice in this. And so we see Lance come into the picture saying, "I thought you should be among the first to know Anthony Keith has died." Now, this is bad because now we see Michonne standing at the window of her apartment, and we see this angry mob of protesters outside her window with signs saying, "Defend the innocent, not the guilty. The law can be bought. Wrong side of the law." And we see Elodie pushing past her saying, "Leave my mother alone, you vultures. She didn't cause this." And so this is obviously getting really bad because the next page we see the Commonwealth soldiers with riot gear and holding off these protesters, and these protesters are hurling like trash cans at them, Molotovs at them, and then we see one of the protesters, from inside Michonne's apartment, we see a protester throw a trash can through their window and come through the window to attack them, but the one of the soldiers manages to rescue them, and turns out it might have been Jerome, because LED looks back saying, what about Jerome? And the last thing we see in this issue is Pamela coming back from her trip to Alexandria and the other communities with Rick looking back at her pretty, like, horrified, saying, "Oh shit," you know? And all Pamela says is, "Holy fuck." And the Commonwealth is in flames. So I guess the cover wasn't very misleading after all, but holy crap, this issue just really moved pretty fast for my taste, you know? But I mean, obviously we had to see obviously this was gonna get bad pretty fast because it's not a good situation. And so I'm interested to see where this goes, because how's Pamela gonna fix this? Is this going to be able to be fixed? You know, is Rick going to just turn around and say, "Sorry, this isn't my problem," you know? Or is he going to try and fix this? Or is he going to be the one that actually fixes this? Because I mean, he's been a leader all the way through. I mean, I wouldn't doubt him to be the one to try and step up, you know? And so that's the end of this issue and the end of this video. If you guys have any questions or any theories you think on where we're gonna go from here, you know, throw them down in the comments and we'll chat about them. And so that's the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, drop a like, show the love, hit that subscribe button to get more of my videos, ring the bell to get notifications of when I post new videos, so that way you guys stay updated and don't miss out. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.